In this last lesson of referencing tracks, we're going to be referencing an arrangement. So let's say we had our own idea. So let's say I spent some time creating a loop just like this. Let's say I was not copying anybody else's, elements or nothing, just like this. So I just created this loop on my own, created all of these elements, and maybe even more than just those. So let's say I created all of those elements and maybe more than just those, and I wanted to reference an arrangement from somebody else. Now, I don't need to have all the same elements that the other guy has, that the song has in it, but I just want to reference the arrangement of when stuff starts and when it finishes, So I could actually do this. Take the track like that, and I could, of course, make locators and say, okay, intro, and then make another locator saying break, and let's say this is a build-up. So let's say this is a build-up. So in this moment, everything starts to build up with the energy to actually lead into this. So we can say drop. Let's say simplified, simple, and right here where everything starts playing, we say drop total, like that. Then again, we have a breakdown, break, and then again we have a build up, and then we have a drop. And then right here, without the bass, we have an outro. Just like that. Now I've copied this arrangement. I can either remove the track completely, although I don't have to. I could just leave it right there, close it without being, activated. And then I can use my elements without looking at that arrangement. I already have the keys right here, what I need to do. So let's say these chords can only come in right here, and all the drums can be there too, but on the break they should not be there, on the drop they should be there. So as you see, I can actually use this schematic that I've made out of all of these markers right here, and use those markers to actually know what is supposed to happen and when. So I can just copy my elements following that, or I can just keep the track up top, listen to it from time to time, and see what's in there. Now, the difference between what I'm doing now and what we did in the first lesson was copying the arrangement and all the elements. Second one, referencing sound, is just referencing all the sounds from the track. And let's say we took one track, referenced all the sounds out of it, and then took another one to reference only the arrangement. So we like the elements that one song has, all the elements that it has, and we reference that, try to make elements similar to those for our track. And then we took another track to actually reference the arrangement. When things start, stop, where's the intro, the break, and all of that. So, as you've seen, it's just like the first lesson, but I'm just using two different tracks for two different purposes. One is to reference sound, and the other one to reference the arrangement. As where in the first lesson, when we referenced structure, we referenced everything. So the same elements in the same parts of the song, in the same duration. So this is just diversifying that into two different processes. So referencing sound in the last lesson from one song, and then we can reference arrangement from any other song and use our elements to follow the arrangement of another song that we maybe like better. But in the end, I've shown you in the first lesson how that's done. So you can just take elements of your song, and even if you didn't reference anybody else's song, you just have a loop that you created with an idea, with all the elements that you like, and you don't know what to do anymore. You don't know what you would add, on top of all of those elements. And sometimes it is a good idea to start making an arrangement out of those elements, because then at some point you see that something's missing. You don't have enough elements to keep the song interesting for the entire duration that you need to make, arrangement in. So you figure out that, okay, now there's something missing. Now the chords are going to begin just here. And by that time, all of these drums are just not enough to keep, the interest of the listener. So I have to do something new right here in the beginning. I have to add some, let's say, uplifters and impacts, effects to make this, more uplifting, more interesting, to make these transitions right here more interesting to when it goes into the next one, make some arrangement differences like that, having the entire beat stop like this. Let's say we had a bass right there. So we have to do something interesting on that break, maybe insert a drum fill of some sort, or whatever comes to mind. Maybe you could listen to what is happening right here in this track. Yeah, and do that or do something else from another track. So in the end, we're just referencing arrangement. What happens when we don't have to go into details of, exactly the right thing, but, at least this, the general idea of here's the intro, here's the break, here's the build-up, here's the drop that is simple, doesn't have everything in it. There's the total drop where everything starts playing, the height of your track. This is what you probably made when you were making the loop. And then you have a break again, build up, that's a bit longer, twice as long as this one, and then the drop again and the outro. Done. So this is how you could simplify the process. And I'm actually copying my own track, but sometimes I would do even that, if I know I had a track that actually worked and the arrangement worked really well whenever I played it, I would actually do just that, copy my own arrangement or make, drop these markers just like this to actually aid me in the timing decisions.